right. So thank you guys all for coming. My name's Evan Daikoku. I'm a senior manager, work on product, developer experience, go-to-market. It's awesome to see a lot of familiar faces. I've been on the team for a while, but tons of new ones too. Awesome energy in the room. This is my first time getting a large group together, and it's just really awesome to see. So thank you guys all for being here. I also know that we're standing in between the group and beer, so we'll make sure that this is a really useful, insightful session, and we'll continue the conversation and optimism. So like we said, I think you've heard from a lot of Amazonians, awesome seller panel, but now it's time to hear from some peers, right? Lots of insights about how to optimize the selling partner API, how to make your applications better. And we have an awesome panel here representing A2X Accounting, CEDCommerce, and OneStone. They're willing to share insights, best practices, lots of learnings. So please join me in welcoming Jay McDonald, Himanshu Rauthan, and Ian White. Cool. So you guys heard from me, but I would welcome introductions from the group. Jamie, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Excited to be here. I'm Jamie McDonald. I'm the CEO of A2X Accounting. We automate accounting for Amazon sellers and push data to QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, Sage, etc.
Awesome. Himanshu.
Hi, everyone. I'm Himanshu Rauthan, and I'm the co-founder of CEDCommerce. CEDCommerce is a leading multi-channel integration facilitator. We help sellers to connect their platform to global marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, Walmart. And our goal is to help sellers adapt multi-channel strategies by connecting their platform to online leading marketplaces. Yeah.
Cool. Ian?
Yeah, so my name's Ian White. I work for OneStone. I currently lead our development efforts there. We're based out of Northwest Arkansas. I've been there for 2 years, been involved in the retail space through development analytics for about 6. We just integrated 40 days ago.
Hey.
So yeah, we have our app just launched. So we have a lot of thoughts and feelings and best practices we want to share with y'all because it was a super exciting experience.
Awesome. Yeah, I love kind of the diversity of solutions on the panel, whether it's a long-time integrator familiar with MWS and someone new and someone in between. So like I said, tons of insights. So diving in, and this is a question for the whole group. I'm curious as developers, what motivated you to leverage the selling partner APIs? Obviously, lots of choices out there. Brands are selling lots of channels, lots of different APIs within even Amazon, some of which we'll hear from tomorrow. And are there specific examples of how your apps have really benefited, Amazon sellers or vendors? I'd be curious about. So, Himanshu, you want to kick us off there?
Yeah, so we started our journey with the Amazon MWS API, and it had certain challenges. Like the authentication process was manual, so it was not that much secure. And then again, if we talk about the listing process, it was quite slow because of the file-based approach and because of the lag in the response from the catalog submission. Mm-hmm. We also analyzed that we were getting around 15% consolidated order failure ratio, and that was because of the inconsistencies between the inventory and order sync process. Mm-hmm. So definitely we were looking for some solution, seamless solution, and SP API really helped us to solve that. We implemented OAuth, which helped us to tokenize transactions and securely connect with third-party systems. Then we use Listing API. Listing API really helped us to do bulk listing on Amazon Marketplace. And you can understand it with this example that we had one seller. They were having around 5,000 SKUs to be listed on Marketplace. And with the old method, it was taking around 48 hours to sync. But with the latest listing APIs, it hardly took a single hour. So that was a huge improvement. Awesome. Then we use notification API. And this one is my favorite. Notification API helps to get real-time inventory and orders update. These were some of the factors which really motivated us. With help of notification API plus serverless architecture, we were able to build a process which was that much optimized that right now we are not facing any kind of order failure or any underselling or overselling issues. Right now we are running at around 99.6% success ratio. So definitely these were the factors because of which we are motivated to use SP API.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Ian, how about you?
Yeah, so we wanted to continue to give a valuable product to the brands we serve, both vendors and sellers. And we had a really manual process 6-8 months ago that we were pulling reports from. And so as we saw the data for both seller and vendors, the access increase, we were like, we got to do something different. And so we started researching the SP API and saw that the access and the automation through the SP API was unmatched. So we were like, we have to get involved and start leveraging the Selling Partner API. One specific example that has benefited a vendor hugely is we went live, like I said, 40 days ago. About 30 days ago, the procurement endpoint went live, where you can access subscribe and save data. Mm-hmm. We were very fortunate to be in the beta program for the SNS API through the month of June. So on day one, when it went live, we were able to load the data into our reporting suite. So we realized that one of our biggest brands was having an issue where subscribers were falling off and they were losing subscribe and save revenue.
Awesome.
And we, that day, started creating audiences to target the audiences through the Amazon Marketing Cloud to target those subscribers who had canceled. And the 2 weeks prior, the subscribe and save revenue for the 2 weeks after we went live with that endpoint, it was a 20% increase in revenue for subscribe and save for that vendor versus the previous 2 weeks. So the brand was excited. We were super excited. It was great to see a tangible, actionable item from the SP API affect brands at a level that we couldn't do 6 months ago. It was really awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one of the things that we've really been focused on. We're going to hear from our partners in Amazon Advertising tomorrow is sort of the power you can unlock with both, right? And certainly making more data available to vendors has been a big focus from us. And I know that MWS has been around a while for sellers, but we're super excited to some of the capabilities that are being unlocked for vendors as well and the scale they operate at. Jamie, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious and most important reason that the development community that we're all here is the kind of 1.7 million sellers who are on the platform, right? And how we solve valuable problems for them. And like everything I've said to all the Amazon team, it's amazing that we actually get to build personal relationships with you here. So thank you for having us. Is like healthy merchants equal healthy developers. So the ability to grow the merchant base on the platform, you think of the growth of the ads business and how that drives value for the merchant community. And so for us, healthy sellers equals healthy software providers. And so the APIs for us are a function to solve problems for those sellers and to drive value, in our particular niche around accounting automation. Mm-hmm. And so we've transitioned from MWS to SP APIs over the last, I think we completed the migration earlier this year, not without hiccups, but it works. New data is unlocked, and you can keep driving the same value for customers.
Cool. Awesome. So I know you guys touched on some of the high-level features and functionalities of your applications, but curious about sort of how are we sort of augmenting the selling experience from what's available in Seller Central, Vendor Central, elsewhere, and any other key kind of features you think stand out that might be of interest to the group. Jamie, I'll start with you.
I mean, for us, it's like the core problem we're solving for merchants is money shows up in their bank account and they want to account for it kind of automatically in QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, or whatever, right? And so for us, like the accuracy of the kind of system of record and tying the order ID to a settlement ID, that's what we do. And so increasingly, what we're here for is learning about the new APIs and kind of the data availability that will allow us to do that on a daily basis as opposed to waiting for a settlement to drop.
Yeah, and certainly a theme we see, right, is sort of the growing amount of compliance needs, whether it's a state level, local level, national level, international level, and just how providers such as yourselves help sellers keep up with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love Bezos's line of like focus on what's not going to change, as that's relevant to me. Like, governments are going to want to raise tax revenue, and they're going to want corporations to be compliant and file sales tax returns. And like to do that, you need to accurately record what you're selling and who you're selling it to. And so, and the fact that that's always going to be evolving and changing is probably good for us. But yeah, and I think merchants don't care about that problem, really. They care about selling more the ad-supported stuff, but being able to turn on a piece of software that unlocks automation, you can forget it, and have the confidence that the data posted in your general ledger is accurate, that's valuable.
Cool. Ian, how about OneStone?
So I'm sure everyone in this room has manually pulled reports and done a ton of VLOOKUPs to compare data side by side, and it's exhausting. And we just never wanted to do that again. So one of the key fun features of our app is we try to pull in all relevant information for sellers and vendors so you can view it in one report. One of the sellers earlier in the Insights panel said there are so many things on Seller Central, it's hard to know what to pull in. And so we do our best to grab those things and paint a holistic picture for the seller or vendor's story. So we want to save them time and money. You could probably pay someone full-time to pull reports from whatever platform you're using. And so if you come to and use our application, it's going to save you just astronomical amounts of time and headache, because it's like you do VLOOKUP, it breaks, it's a file moves or something like that, so it's a real pain. And then one other thing that I'm really proud of, this came to me on like a Sunday night while I was in the shower, and I was like, I've got to go code this right now. So I got out and did it. But we maintain 99.95% accuracy with what Amazon shows on platform, which is people and brands use real money based on the data that we convey to them. So we want to make sure that it's right. We lose credibility every time we show something different than Amazon. Mm-hmm. And Amazon's restating things, Amazon's attributing things. So we maintain this level of accuracy through just a few calls once a week, and it's really, really powerful and really, really helpful to the brands that we have, because we do have people that'll get into our reporting suite and they'll be like, this is $20 off. What's up with that? We're like, well, maybe there's been a return in the past little bit, or maybe they've restated something. So we do our absolute best to make sure that the selling experience that you feel in our application is similar to the Amazon selling experience that you would look if you went on platform.
Yeah, great. Himanshu, how about CEDCommerce?
Yeah, so as I said that we are an integration app who connect e-commerce platform with the marketplaces, and right now more than 50,000 sellers are using our app. Mm-hmm. So there are some core integration feature which we have, like smooth onboarding. Then it's like template-based listing, and template-based listing is some feature which our seller really loved about. Then it's like multi-region support, where sellers can manage multiple Amazon marketplace from a single dashboard. It also supports multi-warehouse support, where they can manage their multiple warehouse shipments. So these are some of the core features, but there are some advanced features on which we are working nowadays, and like everyone is talking about AI. So we have AI enablement in our app. With this feature, like sellers can generate A+ content, and the biggest part is that like this feature works on different regions as well. So like previously, if any seller is like hiring any agency for doing marketing and all stuff, now they can have this done automatically for them. Yep. So this is something which we are working right now. Then we have flexible integration architecture. Like after working with so many sellers, we now know that every business is different, and we have make sure that the design in our app should be such that we can provide them tailored solution. So this is one thing. Then We are also compatible with Amazon's latest program like MCF, buy shipping, local selling.
Yep.
So these are some of the features in our app.
Very cool. And how many marketplaces do you support?
Well, I don't know the exact count, but
Not to put you on
our plan is go global.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Cool. Very, very awesome to hear. So diving in a little bit more of the specifics and lessons learned, I was curious, Jamie, as you're kind of designing your user interface and experience of your apps, how do you think about making it intuitive and user-friendly to maybe someone who's not as familiar with the complexities of selling?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think it's interesting to talk to somebody like A2X about user interface and design, because the dream scenario for us is you kind of connect to Amazon, you connect to QuickBooks or Xero, you map the two together, and then you kind of forget about it, and we disappear into the background. But I mean, what I just described to people who aren't accountants is like daunting and confusing, and so what we're trying to do is to build templated onboarding experiences where a seller who, one, not even connected to an accountant as an example, can come in, make the connection, and we're giving them a templated chart of accounts that delivers accounting in a way that we have conviction is accurate for their situation, right? And so design and user experience for us is like how to make that onboarding as seamless and touchless as possible. And then the ongoing experience is almost like error handling. And, Paul Graham is the font of all great wisdom on how to build software companies. It's like, make something that people want and then effectively tell them about it. And so for us, the user experience is really about like, how do we disappear and then give you the confidence that what we do is working for you.
I love that. Himanshu, you mentioned just sort of all of the diverse programs that you help sellers participate in, all of the geographies. Like, how does your team handle just keeping up with all of that? We'll give you the rest of the time to answer.
Yeah.
Kidding, but just very curious. You mentioned just a lot of the complexity that you remove from sellers, and just curious how you guys think about that.
Yeah. So certainly there are quite challenging complexities while working with critical product information like inventory, pricing, and order synchronization while working with different geographies. There are some business level challenges like to ensure that inventory level rules are set to prevent any overselling or underselling related issue. Then to ensure that pricing rules are consistent so that there is no issues related with taxes, commissions, or any other financial factor. Then to ensure that order synchronization is implemented properly so that sellers can use functionality like same-day delivery. So these are some of the challenges which we were able to solve with the help of SP API. The biggest problem with this setup was that we need a process so that we can have a different inventory and pricing rule among different regions, and we were able to solve this with one of the feature in our app we call as multi-region support. With this feature, sellers can create different inventory and pricing configurations, and with this they can manage different regions. Now, once this setup was done, we had another problem of throttle limits because different regions has different requirements based on the configuration setup there. So we were able to solve this with notification API. We also implemented serverless architecture so that we can manage event-based task and asynchronous processing. Now, these are things related with the inventory and pricing, but if you talk about orders, it had another challenges. So for orders, we had one feature we call as multi-warehouse support, where sellers can able to manage orders, like they can decide which order should go from which warehouse. Now, this is one thing, but after implementing all this, I would I would suggest to developers that if you are working in any app which is using a lot of webhooks or let's say notification API, it's very important that you should have a backup plan because this system can see failures, and it's very important that if you should consistently keep on checking things. For that, we have a reconciliation feature which keeps on checking things are proper or not in background. So likewise, we were able to manage the complexity in different regions, and hope we'll do it much better in future.
Very cool. So Ian, I know that you're newer to market with your application, so I'm curious how you've thought about leveraging feedback from some of your first movers, some of your first adopters, as you thought about how you'd go to market and improve on an ongoing basis your application.
First of all, let me say I hope you took notes on what Himanshu just said, because there was a lot of important things in there. So I teach application development at the University of Arkansas, where we're from. So I get to interact with a ton of people that have a developer's mindset or think like a developer. And most people in this room and the three of us up here and the people that I teach, we all probably do things in a very similar step-by-step logical way. Even if we end up at a different solution, we're probably going to follow the similar steps to get somewhere. So what I would say is don't do that. Go talk to people about what your app should do. Like Jamie just said, make something that people want and then tell them about it. Everyone in this room probably doesn't know exactly what a brand or a seller needs or a vendor needs. So go find out. What will improve your go-to-market strategy and adoption of your app is if you are solving pain points for vendors and sellers. I'm very fortunate to work on a team. Our tech team has 2 Amazon sellers. So as we looked through data points and we're like, which one of these should we pull in for a minimum viable product? They were like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Definitely grab that. Definitely grab that. I know that I did this. When I pulled up the SP API documentation, I looked at the endpoints alphabetically, and I started with A+ content, and I was like, let's figure out how to do this. They were like, absolutely not. Do not do that. So grab what is important, because if you're solving pain points, that will change the way your go-to-market strategy and the adoption of your app is. We talk to the brand managers that manage the brands. We talk to the clients that will be using the data, and they were like, let's grab these 8 reports and these 4 endpoints for the first go around, and then we will continue to improve adoption by grabbing more things, making more, getting more value in our reporting product, posting to, doing listing work. But from the beginning, if you're pulling together reports or grabbing things that they can't see anywhere else, they're gonna want it. So yeah, make sure you're solving what people actually want, because sometimes we think we know, but we actually don't. We may not know what a seller's pain point is in that moment.
Cool. And just sort of broadening, I know that we've heard about a lot of themes sort of internal to Amazon today, and you shared a little bit about AI, which we're all interested in. But in the broader landscape, from the brands you talk to, from the other channels you think about, I'm curious what are some of the trends you're hearing? What are the technologies that yourselves, your students, you're hearing about, interested in, et cetera? And what are some things that we can share with the group of what you're hearing out there? And Jamie, I'll start with you.
Sure. I mean, I think the kind of trend, and I think the first acknowledgement is the merchant vis-a-vis 2 years ago isn't as healthy, right? And there's still this e-commerce penetration curve, which we're all part of driving forward and growing, and I think that's a 10-year wave that's in our favor. There's headwinds around the customer acquisition channels for merchants are just more expensive than they were 2 years ago, and it's harder to make money. And so I think as developers and marketplace providers, we just need to be cognizant of that, and like, what are the things that we can do to, creative destruction, the brands don't last as long. Like the brand owners I'm talking to, like, they feel like they're on this innovation treadmill, and if they don't have to invent a new product every 9 months, or their last one's not going to drive revenue anymore. And I like what I'm focused on when I'm listening is like, how do you figure out the tools to teach these companies how to become enduring, like lasting businesses that make money? And I think in the world of kind of free capital that we existed in until very recently, making money wasn't that important because you could borrow it for free, right? And increasingly, this is obvious, but like to make it beyond that average 18 months of a lifespan for an e-commerce merchant, you got to figure out how to, make stuff that people want and drive real value for consumers and like build brand. I think that's the kind of macro trends that we're certainly seeing when we talk to developers and sellers.
Yeah, I think it was on the panel earlier, someone said sort of just the stakes of selling have raised, right? And so I think that's one of the most powerful things folks in the room can offer is, how do you quickly scale? How do you quickly gain the insights to even fail quickly in certain areas and figure out what's working quickly? Certainly that's something I've noticed in my time, especially recently, is just like the pace is quicker, the stakes are higher, and the value of developers has actually increased because of that. Ian, what are you hearing?
So I'm so thankful Jamie didn't say AI, because then I would have nothing to say. But AI, if you're not using, we've had a seller mentioned it in the Seller Insights panel. We've had a session here today specifically on AI. If you're not using generative artificial intelligence to alleviate your workload or bring value to a brand, you're already behind the curve. So there are a number of applications out there, so do the research for whatever works best for your organization. But it is so easy to implement a use case with 50 lines of code. AI is really easy to integrate. It was literally just some Stack Overflow stuff that I put into Python, and it worked great. So low barrier to entry, super high ceiling. And I'll give you an example of what we've done with AI. We have a number of use cases working right now, a number in the pipeline. But we had a seller who had a number of misattributed reviews. And so they were showing up on this item, they didn't belong to this item, and it was dragging the rating down, and they were losing sales because of it. The flywheel, they weren't ranking as high and things of that nature. We discovered this through AI, completely automated, we didn't touch it, and we were able to submit a ticket to get those reviews removed, and it, of course, increased the rating for that item. And the discovery of it was all automated. We just, one day were alerted because the AI had found it, and we're able to, the brand was super excited. Fortunately, it was the same brand as the Subscribe and Save, so they're really happy over the past few months. But they were super excited, and we were really happy to see AI and work after. I mean, it was just a couple of days after I'd implemented it, and like I said, it was maybe 50 lines of code. Yeah, maybe.
Cool. Yeah, from what I've observed, the things sort of out there in the buzz is what can it do with sort of consumer questions, but I've seen a lot of them very powerful applications actually internal, right? How do we make ourselves more productive, even if it's not going into our actual solution? Just lots of productivity hacks and stuff, which is to your point, just scratching the surface on. So I think we're ahead of schedule, which is awesome. But as we conclude this discussion, I'm very curious to hear from each of you. Like, what is kind of one key piece of advice, or if you have multiple, go for it. Whether it's advice, insights, lessons learned, like how could you, if you're looking to leverage SP API more and build apps that are compelling in the App Store, like what was kind of the one valuable takeaway you might have for someone either starting their journey, looking to boost their success, and just what would you most want the audience to take away from that? Himanshu, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so after working with more than 50,000 sailors, what I understand that every business is different, and the business who want to grow and scale, they see the integration very critically. Like integration is very important for them, and that's why if any developer or team of developer is working on API, it's very important that they learn it in detail. And what I mean by that, that they should also learn the architecture related with that, limitations. They should also check for the laws and policies related with that. What are the data flow? Because if there is any incorrect implementation of API in the long run, it would create a technical debt. So it's very important that you learn the API in detail, and I would say that SP API team has done a great job with the detailed documentation. So you should definitely go and check in detail.
Cool. No, and that's been an area of focus for us this year that hopefully folks have seen, right? So our documentation site, I think we've done a big effort to modernize that, add new types of content, YouTube Developer University, blogs, et cetera. And so hopefully everyone can take a look at that and just see that is a point of emphasis for us, is to increase the amount of self-service content out there, especially as we accelerate our own pace of data availability, access mechanisms, et cetera. So cool to hear. Ian, how about you?
Yeah. So I would say this is tough. You can read online that the integration is challenging. The project can be challenging. The integration can be challenging. So don't let that be discouraging, because although it's tough, there's a reason it's tough. It's worth it. I thought, very naive, that I would knock this integration out in 1 or 2 days, like I had done with previous integrations, and I felt super confident, came into it. Then I was like 2 weeks in, and I was like, whew, this is a lot. So the reason, it's not like other integrations. They provide more access and visibility than most other platforms that we interact with. So keep that in mind as you're starting it off, as you're working on it, as you're doing new things. I spoke with somebody earlier, and they said they were having trouble accessing the feeds. They're migrating from a previous process to the feeds API. And they said, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I can't get it done. And it's like, but you can get it done. Like, it will be fine. Everyone here has probably had some time that they're like, I spent 8 hours on Stack Overflow, and I found one dude 12 years ago, or one person 12 years ago that did it the way that I needed it to be done. It just may be that next thing. You can see stories online of people that started the integration and stopped, or they settled for 1 or 2 endpoints. Everybody in this room makes a living off the selling partner API, so there's a lot of value in finishing that project. I remember, so we're 40 days into being live right now. I remember when I got the email from our partner manager, Doris Shrew. She's great. If anybody's interacted with Doris, she's absolutely incredible, saying that the app was live. And I'm like, running around to the people on the pickleball court, showing them the app that it's live. And they're like, I don't know why you're showing me this. I couldn't care less. Yeah. But I was so excited because I knew the work that had gone into it, and I knew what it would do for the brands that we worked with. Yeah. We were going to grow their business through the SP API with a better process than we had previously. So it's exciting. Like, I never thought I have to go work on this. I always thought I get to go work on this because I knew how terrible our process was prior, and I knew that it was going to be really cool going forward. So it's a really great. Be excited. That's walk away. Just be excited to get to work on it.
Yeah. I love to hear that. I think it's, the complexity is there. We hear it, we see it too. But it's one of the things we're working on, especially getting started, right? And understanding where folks are coming from, different backgrounds, different coding languages, different, cloud providers, right? And it's something that we take into consideration. I think one of the things, and we work on that, right? Whether it's content, things like this, right? The community out here that hopefully we'll build here and over at Optimism. I think one of the things that you mentioned earlier that I love was just, and a lesson learned from a lot of the folks I've worked with and over the years, is picking the thing that you want to start with, right? There's a lot of endpoints, to your point, right? More than a lot of other folks out there, because you can do a lot on Amazon. And so I think if you think about apply the working backwards, right, from our core seller or vendor customers, like, where do I start? What's the minimalist viable product I want to put out there? And then I get momentum, then I get feedback to figure out, is it reports? Is it notifications? Is it multi-channel fulfillment? Is it advertising, right? And so I think that a thing that you resonated with me is that I know a couple teams have entered this saying, I'm going to do all the endpoints. It's just like, it's a lot. And then it takes a while, and then you feel that sort of motivation. And so I like kind of chunking it up.
Well, we heard earlier, don't be everything to everyone. Definitely when you start off. Yeah. Try to be really good at 3 or 4 endpoints, because those may take you a month. Try to get reporting done or try to get catalog down, or try to get listings down. But don't do them all. You're going to make a poor product if you try to do all endpoints in 4 weeks versus being really good at reports and pulling in data very, very well, or syndicating data to Amazon through Listings API. Don't be everything all the time to everyone in the first month. You just can't do it. It's not going to be a good product. You're doing a disservice to yourself and the brands.
Cool. Jamie, how about you in A2X?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I was, it's like, what would I do if I was starting an app from scratch in the ecosystem? And there's still, I think, tons of white space, right? 3,000 apps, but 1.7 million sellers. I mean, I've talked to a bunch of new developers here and in the last couple of years who are building businesses on top of the APIs. And I think, like, I mean, you've heard, like we heard from the sellers today, like, be niche or build a bundle. Like, there is no right answer. I just say, like, as you're building around solving that specific problem for a set of customers, just consider distribution, right? Like, I've got a nephew who's building a Salesforce app right now, and his victory was like, oh, we got live in the store. And I was like, okay, like, get some leads, buddy. I just think considering how you build in your referrals, your word of mouth, distributing through agencies or whatever it is, you got to build it, and you can't just expect everyone to arrive. So having a plan on how to distribute and sell the product, and for customers to become the voice in telling your story, I think I'd encourage everyone who's building software on top of these APIs to do that.
Cool. Awesome. So that wraps up our panel discussion today. So I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Jamie, Himanshu, and Ian. Join me. And yeah, so I really appreciate you guys sharing your personal insights into your company. I think one of the awesome things that's actually just been a mind shift from, I've done this for years, right, is being open about what we've learned, what our products do, sharing knowledge out there. I think it's just much part of that community that we're looking to encourage. And so I encourage us all to continue the discussions tomorrow at Optimism, wherever we go after that. And it's fun. Like I said, it's so awesome to see folks in this room, both from Amazon and our customers here. And it's been a really awesome day. So thank you guys so much for your time. And yeah, thanks so much.